You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we'll be going over the trade that the Pistons recently made that could change the landscape a little bit. Not very much. No, it's the Pistons. We'll also be going over how it affects the Chicago Bulls and what's going on with the Celtics and Ime Udoka. We'll be getting to all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central. Pat, we got a lot of things going on in the NBA. For this, training camps open, our media days are tomorrow. We've gotten so much news in this last week that was unexpected. That was supposed to be our last slow week of news. Oh, man. But first, we're going to talk about the actual basketball. The Pistons have acquired Bojan Bogdanovic for Kelly Olynyk and Sabine Lee. Now, we all know Danny Ainge is absolutely obsessed with Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah.
But
that's his guy.
Yeah, that's his guy. Everybody has their guy in the NBA. That's Danny Ainge's guy. But everybody was kind of expecting, and it was even said at one point that the Jazz were expecting or wanting to get a first-round pick back for Bojan. But now they just get Kelly Olynyk and Sabine Lee back, bro. What do you think about this?
Listen, great move by the Pistons, right? It's an interesting move to me. I think that you needed to do this if you were Detroit because you needed a little bit of veteran experience on that team, right? Didn't mean you say oldest dude on the team was Marvin Bagley, basically? Well, I mean, including Kelly Olynyk and like Kemba, but guys that we expected to get moved. But I mean, the oldest dude on the team basically was Marvin Bagley. So you want to have a little bit of somebody who's been there to bring that experience into this Pistons locker room. The one thing that I will say is that I don't know if it changes the landscape of this team. I think this team is just really young. I think they have a really good team up and coming, and I think the Central Division is going to be one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest division in basketball moving forward. But I think this is a good get for the Pistons, man, and it doesn't put fear in me yet, but as they continue to develop, he could be a name that you absolutely see and you say, yeah, that guy, he's going to knock down big shots for him.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's to bring in a veteran presence. You have a very young team there that's going to be learning to win. I've said for a long time, the way that I see the Detroit Pistons this season, there's going to be a team that plays some tough games, that makes some teams feel it, but they may lose a lot of close games or maybe play a solid 3 quarters and get blown out in the fourth. But there's a lot of building blocks to do there, and I like Detroit's roster. I really do like Detroit's roster. It sucks that it's on Detroit, a team that are our rivals and in our division, but no less. Like, I really do like a lot of the young pieces on this roster. Bringing in Bogdanovic, what that does for them is, like you said, it brings in a veteran. It brings in somebody who can go out and get you a bucket if the younger players aren't quite getting it, if they're hitting a wall, whatever else. I really look at it similarly, not the same impact. He's not going to average the same numbers, but it's similar to what they did in bringing in DeMar DeRozan to this team, is that you bring in a veteran that, as Cade learns to be a bigger scorer, Durant learns his role, things like that, but it brings in somebody that you can bet in and night out is going to go and get you a bucket.
Yeah, he's going to be that dude that irritates Bulls fans for the next year, 2, 3, 4 years, right? Like,
well, I mean, he's only on contract for another year. So,
well, I assume, I'm not gonna lie to you, I think he'll be that guy. The reason I say that, right, because there's always that guy on every team that we focus our ire on, and it's just like, I feel like he's got the ability to be that guy, and because of that, the Pistons will re-sign him. Where like you said, right, he's gonna come in, probably doesn't average the same numbers, but maybe comes in and give you a solid play. You add that into a healthy Cade and Duran starting to get themselves together, kind of figuring out their thing, right? Bagley, whatever he's going to bring to that team. I think that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we like having this guy around. And people forget, right? The part that not so much scares me, but I think gives me the most pause before I say like with the Knicks, right? Like 38 wins, maybe 36. That I can guarantee that. Book it. the thing that gives me the most pause with the Pistons is a lot of people forget Dwayne Casey, coach of the year, been in the Eastern Conference Finals many times. He knows what he's doing coaching that basketball team. And I think he's going to be the big piece that's able. Now you got your veteran in there to send out the marching commands. That's a big thing to send out there with you. Although he couldn't figure out Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose. I will say that. I don't.
I mean, you're not wrong, right? It's not that you're wrong. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, hey, yeah. I mean, he's a career 45% shooter from the field, almost 40% shooting from three, 86% from free throw. That's for his career. Last season, he averaged 18 points per game. So, yeah, he's going to come in on a team that needs that type of role, needs that type of veteran leadership. Is he going to defend well? Probably not. But that's not what you're like. I'm looking at this team overall as a team that's probably not going to defend well, but he's going to help this team out a lot. And like I said, it sucks to be able to say that against a division rival, but it is what it is, man.
It's a tough comparison, but to me, right, maybe a better version, but he's Evan Fournier to that Knicks team, but for a lot less money. Like Evan Fournier became kind of like a scoring leader for that Knicks team, which is probably their main problem. But I mean,
it's the New York Knicks. Let's be clear; they have a lot of main problems.
Yeah, the team, a player that, but what I mean, right? A player that comes in and you can kind of count on him to, okay, just do this. He's going to be a little bit up and down. He's not going to be the same guy every night, but he has that ability to come in and do this, and he's somebody that you can rely on more times than not.
That's fair. I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see what it ends up being. I really like Detroit's roster. If you guys can't tell, I look at it a lot. Like, and the thing is, what does this do for you as far as the Bulls in the Central Division? There's been a lot of made over the conference overall, but now you look at almost every team in the division has improved this season, made significant moves, except for the Chicago Bulls.
I think what you look at here is you're betting on the youth that you have on your team, and you're hoping that they take a step. You have to, because you've gone very high on some of the youth on this team, and I think that this is a season where you want to see that youth start to take that step, like a lot of these other teams are. Right? Why do we feel the real reason we feel the best about the Pistons? Let's not get it twisted. It's Cade, right? Like no matter what. If Cade wasn't there, we would not care that Bojan just showed up in Detroit and that they went and got Duren's maybe a year off from being the player that you hope he's going to be, right? Like, you don't care. You need that young talent to take that step. And so I think that's what the Bulls are betting on here in the Central. Listen, it's the same for every team. You can have an okay team, but who's that piece that's going to take you to that next step? And I think that's where the Bulls kind of are here, but they're still going to be a very competitive team in the Central Division. It's not like they're going to go out there and get their butts kicked every night. Like, they're going to be a top team. To me, a top 5 or 6 team in the Eastern Conference. I think they have the ability to be one of the top teams again, but it depends on what you get from your young players. Guess what? Ayo Dosunmu's role just went up.
Well, we were expecting it to be
a role just went up. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun games played in the Central Division this upcoming year. A lot of fun games, and it may be the. I would have to look at each division. I would say maybe the most fun division to watch from top to bottom, because even the Indiana Pacers, where I have them at the bottom of the Central Division, still
I like Halliburton.
Our team, I like Halliburton. There's still some talent there that you can take a look at and say, hey, not to say that it's appointment level television, but for people who just like basketball, if they're on League Pass and ain't nobody else playing for real, I'll watch a couple of Pacers games.
Here's the question. You in Ohio, you might get them just straight up.
This is true.
Here's the question. I know we got to touch on Ime. Maybe poor choice of words there, but I want to take this question into the next segment because I know we. I want to take this into the next segment. Is there here's a pivot for you. You know what I mean? You do this to me all the time. Is there a team in the Central Division right now that you see being the Chicago Bulls' real rival long term?
Honestly, it could be the Pistons or it could be the Cleveland Cavaliers evenly right now.
Who
They
has
both
the
have
best
enough
chance? I mean,
I would say the Cavs because they have Mobley. And I'm looking at Mobley, and I've said this before. Mobley has a chance to be the best big man in the league at some point. I truly believe that. If he pulls it together, he has a chance to be there.
I got to stop asking how much he weigh because it don't really matter no more.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much does he weigh? And then I'm like, well, Joel Embiid and Jokic are probably the two heaviest. But yeah, I don't know, man. The Central's going to be crazy. Like, I really feel like because of the trajectory of both of the teams, right? Like, Giannis and the Bucks are already built. I think you're talking probably more pace or Cavaliers or even the Pistons out of anybody.
It depends on how quick. It depends on which team peaks, not peaks, but which one hits that grind, that development grind first, because you can see it. Like, Darius Garland is already a stud, right? Yeah. Mobley's already a stud. Like, as they get better together, how that works in with Donovan Mitchell, that exceeds their timeline some because he's an older player. So I look at them and the Bulls kind of rising at the same time. And then as they're rising, you're going to have the Pistons a couple of years behind them.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be poised too. It's going to be a fun division to watch, man.
It'll be a lot better, bro. We're going to beat the heck out of each other the entire way. And then we just going to and then we all going to stumble into the playoffs trying to figure out why can't we get out the second round?
Exactly. Exactly, man. But next up, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls and why they probably aren't going to be making any major trades for these Jazz players that are available. But first, I got to talk to you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for your football betting info this season. Find all the latest players developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. As always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, Pat. So, naturally, Bulls fans, we've been a part of this community forever, going to ask why the Chicago Bulls, did not get on this trade because the Pistons really didn't give up a whole lot for it.
Yeah.
Or Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, still players available. Rudy Gay still available. Are the Bulls going to now make a move or a pivot to try to go after one of these players available? Where do you sit currently on, should the Bulls have tried to make this move for Bojan?
I don't know if Bojan is which one
Bojan.
is it?
It's Bojan.
Yeah. I never know anymore. They all the same. That's a tough one. I take that back. That's bogus to say. Jesus. All right, Pat.
What made you go with that bar?
I don't know. What made me go with that bar? That's how I feel, bro. Because there's 3 Bojans in the league, right? No, there's 2 Bojans and a Boban. And Boban, I know.
There's 2 Bobans because there's the tall Boban that's in the commercial.
Dang it. I don't know anymore, man. And they all got like a similar last name minus 1 letter. But here's the thing at the end of the day, right? Like, I want to see the Bulls be more competitive, but I don't want to see it at the expense of something major.
Now, this you just said a week ago that we should try to make a move for Jordan Clarkson.
Here's the thing.
Okay, all right.
I'm fine with you giving up picks, pieces, something that you feel isn't going to be, maybe is a part of your long term, but isn't going to be a key piece of your long term, right? To make a move that keeps Big Brother from getting bigger. But I don't see the Bulls going that route anyway, no matter what I want, right? Like sure, I'd love to have Jordan Clarkson on this team so he's not on the Bucks. But it's probably not the move that's going to get done. So I think the question is, right, where are they going to be able to find a way to compete in a division that has these guys in it? That's the part you have to figure out right now, right? And at the end of the day, it's not just this offseason that we're going to. If we thought the Bulls were going to win an NBA championship this season, sure, I'm all for going out and making a major trade to get one. I don't know if it's a major trade, but going to get one of these pieces from the Jazz. But as you start to look at the free agents that are actually coming as you keep going forward, you have to be like, all right, It may not happen this year, but at some point the Bulls are going to be back in this market big time.
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes to the finances for me in this. Like looking at any of the contracts that are available. Like Rudy Gay, okay, that's only $6 million. That's a possibility, but what does a 36-year-old Rudy Gay really give you?
We didn't want 26-year-old Rudy Gay.
That's
so I don't know why we'd want 36.
So we're eliminating that, crossing that out.
Yeah.
Next up, Mike Conley. We're going to cross out just by the nature of $22 million. It's not going to happen. Cross that out.
Mike Conley's Goran Dragic at this point.
Okay, there you go. Cross it out. That leaves Jordan Clarkson, $13 million contract. Now, what could the Bulls, if it was available, could they do? We know it's starting off with Kobe. That's just
sure.
intro to get in the door with Kobe. That's $7.4 million, so we're a little over halfway there. You're then looking at Derrick Jones Jr. Okay, that's another $3 million. We're at $10 million now. And then you're looking at Javante, was 1.8. That gets you close enough to where you don't have to match exactly. It's that percentages. But at that point, you're giving up 3 players for 1 player that still doesn't get you any further. Let me not say any further, but it doesn't make you a championship contender.
I would say how many – see, the tough part about it is, right, it's not so much that I wouldn't do that deal. For me, it's why would Utah do it? That's more the question that I'd have on
but
that
would you not have been saying that about Kelly Olynyk and Sabine Lee as well for Bojan?
Yeah, but I think those guys, if I'm not mistaken, right, isn't Olynyk on the last year of a deal?
No, Olynyk has 3 years left on that contract.
3 years left on that deal. He did re-sign in Detroit, didn't he? I don't know.
That's what I thought initially too. Like initially, I was like, "Oh, it must be expiring," but no, they got long-term money in that case. Now, at least every contract that I mentioned for the Chicago Bulls could be a 1-year deal. They could get off that money.
I think that. I mean, I guess maybe they
would do it. That's really the only thing. Like if
listen, this is like maybe they would do it, but like for me, it's not the players that you're giving up. I'd be fine giving up all 3 of them, right? Because you're getting back Jordan Clarkson, somebody you know can make an impact for you, and you're opening up roster spots to try and add guys that maybe haven't been signed or something like that. But at the end of the day, I don't want at least for me, I don't need Javante Green getting 15 minutes for me to feel better about this Bulls team, or not getting 15 minutes. Like, it doesn't change my opinion on it. If you're holding on to Ayo, you're holding on to Caruso, you're holding on to P. Will. Those are the pieces that would change my opinion on where this Bulls team's going up and down. Kobe White doesn't even change my opinion on it. I replace Kobe if I go get Jordan Clarkson, but I don't see the Bulls making that move either. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. I like to be logical. I like to come in this and look at things as okay, well, all right, if this is what you're saying, how do we get this done? There's just not a feasible way. Like you said, unless Utah's just willing to take on money just because it expires at that point, or maybe they say, hey, we get to take a look at Kobe. Yeah, we'll have to re-sign him, but hey, like maybe Kobe can. They took a chance on Sexton, so
yeah. I listen at this point, right? Like, I don't know. I think if a deal's on the table like that for a guy like Bojan, right? Like, you're probably not looking to overblow the bank on what's coming back. But then the question becomes, is the package that you can offer bigger than the package that somebody else can offer that's going to want Jordan Clarkson to help them on their championship team? We know Milwaukee's interested. I think I heard New York was interested, but I guess they just hope.
They just want guards. They just want guards.
Like, well, they had nothing but forwards for 10 years. So now they want guards.
Remember back when they had Baron Davis, they had a bunch of point guards then too. They're trying to go back now. They're flipping it. Let's go ahead. But at least now it's a league to where I guess you can get away with playing a lot of more guards than what you can. Shout out to Derrick Rose, too, being back down to his rookie year weight, putting in that work.
I would love to have Jordan Clarkson on this team, but I think the biggest question is, right, do you have the assets that you can put the best offer in?
That's the thing. I mean, for Jordan Clarkson, but that's what's weird because
you got him for this year, you got him for next year. He's 30, 31. He's going to be making about 14-2 next season.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's not that I wouldn't want Jordan Clarkson on this team, but when you give up 3 players that are actually being productive for one, yeah, he can come in and make an impact, but you're giving up other players that are going to do things for you on this team too that he is not going to replace just by nature of his scoring. So for me, I would be more willing to do that deal if Jordan Clarkson was more a 3-4 rather than a 2. Because that's kind of the position we need some scoring at. We're almost taken care of at the guard positions at this point. Even, you want more scoring off the bench, but look at it. Alex Caruso, Ayo, we're not giving up either one of them in that deal. So that's going to force Jordan Clarkson to play out of position. I just don't know, bro. I'm not saying that.
I would say, right, like if you're breaking that down, right, like you got to.
Well, you're putting Caruso at the 3.
Ayo's in your starting lineup.
Well, not long term. I'm thinking long term here because eventually we're getting Lonzo Ball back.
At this point, right, like my mindset is if Lonzo comes back and is able to contribute, I thank God. I'm glad to have you back. 24 years old. Let's roll through this mug. But right now, we got to think about what this team could be.
Does this change this at all? Jordan Clarkson actually has a player option for the next season, so he could look to opt out for his last chance to really re-up at heavy money. Is he still sub 30? So it's 30-year-old season right now. If he has a big season this season, I can see Jordan opting out to get another. It may just only be a 2 or 3 year deal, but locking in more money long term in that case.
I get you, but when's Javonte done?
Javonte's done at the end of the season.
When's DJJ done?
2 years.
2 years?
But at way less money. Way less money.
Way less money for sure. What did he get? He got 3, right? Or he got 2. He got the same deal as Dragic.
Yeah, he got the same deal.
And then Kobe White is a maybe after this year or maybe not after this year, right? Like, I think that's kind of how I look at it, right? Like, either way, you could be having the same conversation about 2 out of the 3 players that are there. Now, Javonte,
true, but for what he's going to get, you're going to get all of them for the same amount of money for one player at that point, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, none of them move the needle for it. Like, I love DJJ, but I'm also realistic.
Well, I'm DJ. I don't think DJJ. Like, we'll see.
I'm also realistic about when he was best, right? Like, it's like he was the best when Lonzo was on the court standing next to him, lobbing it up to him the entire time, and then he could go out there and knock down those couple threes in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm okay. I would be okay making the move. I think the biggest thing isn't would I be okay with making the move? Would the Bulls be okay with making the move? The biggest thing is, do the Bulls have enough to outbid other teams that are willing to make that trade?
That's the question. Let's be clear.
That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to.
We don't have no.
Like none of those names outside of Kobe White. Kobe White's the only one that.
But the thing is, I would have said that same thing about Kelly Olynyk and Sabine Lee for both. I wouldn't have thought that would get that job done. So we really don't know what the methodology is for the Jazz. Like, at this point, are they trying to get rid of their big salaries to just take a look at as many young players as possible to see, hey, who possibly turns into something for us? Yeah. Or is it, hey, we want to stack up on assets? If it's the draft assets, we ain't got that to give. Like, this, before now, I would have automatically said, no, the Bulls are out of contention because we don't have the picks. Because everything we've heard so far from the Jazz is it's picks.
Yeah.
But maybe now they looked at it and said,
Except every deal they make is not picks.
Exactly. Now, they look at it and say, we got these 13 first-round picks. We're not going to be able to draft all of these players. Yeah. So maybe at this point, it is just about moving the money around.
I would think so, right? And I mean, at this point, right, you also have to think, are they really trying to bottom out?
Yeah.
Colin Sexton's good. You're not bottoming out.
Oh, no, you will, because he may not play this season.
That's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, you may get a season built in.
Larry got him.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move right on. That's the end. You've tripping.
Larry's got him, man.
You're tripping with that one. Last topic of the day, kind of the fly on the wall.
How hurt would you be if Larry turns into a 25-10 player out in Utah?
I wouldn't even be mad anymore, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I wouldn't lose not a single bit of sleep over it because it kind of is what it is.
He turns into the player we all thought he was gonna be.
He turns into the next Dirk, just out there dropping 20 and 10 and 2 blocks and just looking all amazing. Oh, PTSD kicking in. Moving on to from our drama to another franchise's drama, the Boston Celtics and Ime Udoka. Bro, have you ever seen a coach suspended for a full year?
No, I don't think the NBA has seen that.
That's crazy.
I don't think there's ever been that in the NBA. And that's the wild. There's more. There's got to be more. There's no way it's just what we've been told.
Oh, for sure. We're getting the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So let's read the direct release if I can find it. Give me 1 second.
I think it's in the on Twitter. in the chat, I believe, from the Boston Celtics you're talking about.
Yeah. Go ahead and read it. You got it.
Let me get it in here, Bow, because I know I shared it. The news release, press release, I should say, from the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics announced today that the team has suspended head coach Ime Udoka for the 2022-2023 season for violation of team policy. A decision about his future with the Celtics beyond this season will be made at a later date. The suspension takes effect immediately. So essentially, he can't have any contact with the team. He can't have any input on the coaching at all, right? And your coaching staff is going. The Celtics have made assistant coach Joe Mazzulla the interim head coach for the Celtics here, and I think.
So does he continue his relationship now since he's suspended? No, let me stop playing.
Relax. You've been petty all week today. Relax. Here's the interesting part of this, right? Like, I know a lot of people will look at this and say, okay, no big deal. The Celtics will just keep rolling. But could we be talking about a team in the Eastern Conference? Because coaching is philosophy. Coaching is implementation of the philosophy. Coaching is, and while these guys may be on the staff, right, that doesn't mean that the philosophy is going to be the same. Guess what? Fred Hoiberg had Jim Boylan on the staff. We weren't dealing with the same philosophies there. So, like, do you think that we could see an Eastern Conference team essentially have to start over like they did last season, even though these guys have played together already? But, I mean, they've been playing together since Brad Stevens was there.
I think you have some built-in culture there with the Boston Celtics. Keep in mind, Brad Stevens was a heck of a coach himself. I do think that some of that rubs off, and I think that Brad Stevens would not put somebody in place even as an interim head coach if he didn't think that they were going to keep those philosophies going. So because of that, I think I trust that there's going to be some synergy there where it's going to be some overlap, even if it means that Brad Stevens is sitting in practice telling Joe Mazzulla, "Hey man, yeah, I'm just gonna leave this here. What is this? It's a playbook. This is what you need to do."
So if we see just poor clock management, we know Brad Stevens is taking over again. Is that what you're telling me? Wait, is Brad Stevens about to Pat Riley this joint?
See, there you go. It may
the season,
you know what? It may get to that point, bro. All jokes aside, if this ship does go left, he may pull a Pat Riley and come down from the office and say, "Listen, I gotta right this ship. I gotta take this over."
Are you surprised that we didn't see that? Because he's president of basketball ops.
Yeah. No.
We've seen guys be coaching
for sure. I'm not surprised that it didn't go that way, only because you at least have to try, right? Joe Mazzulla is an assistant coach there for a reason. He was the head coach in college, so there's something there that they already saw in him. So you might as well take a chance and say, "Hey, this is your opportunity." Because I believe, and again, this is not reporting, this is just me saying my thoughts, that they just didn't want to fire him right now because of the optics. I don't think Ime Udoka comes back as the head coach of the Boston Celtics.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's such a tough topic to talk about on Locked On. I don't know if on our own platforms we cracking jokes, we killing it.
Yeah. By the way, you're supposed to be you're coming on Bull Central tomorrow. You know we're going.
We forgot about that one right there. Is that tomorrow? No, bro. That's Saturday, bro.
Oh yeah. See, I've been thinking this Friday.
Technically, don't worry about it. Technically, this is Friday's episode. I'll be on Bull Central tomorrow. Tune in with us on that. I think this is the thing that you got to look at, right? Like, there's a philosophy that can be set here, and I like that they're giving Joe Mazzulla a chance. But I think this is also okay. This is built-in cushion for us to do a coaching search for a year.
Yeah.
And I think that I would tend to agree with you that I don't see him coming back. I don't know if this is he'll never get a job in the NBA again type of thing.
No, they're not gonna Mark Jackson him, not because of this.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But you really, really never know. And I like how Stephen A was talking about it this morning, bro. He was like, he basically told the Boston Celtics, "Stop being cowards. Y'all know y'all put this out. So just either tell us the story
Or just fire him.
Keep it behind, or just
and just keep it moving. Yeah, just fire him and keep it moving. I don't know. Bro, this is one of the weirdest things that it's just been a weird couple of weeks in sports between the Robert Sarver thing and this. It's like, hey man, y'all were really tripping this offseason.
Hey,
this
bro,
is not what we
Robert,
said when we were looking for offseason content.
And Robert Sarver just like doubling down, like after a week, just like cancel culture took me out, and it's like, bro, like no one said anything,
bro.
Like, at least give them an opportunity to cancel you. Like
he absolutely blamed it on cancel culture. Like that's crazy, bro.
And hey, listen, for the first time, cancel culture got an opportunity to Josh Hart somebody, just like when Harden bumped Josh Hart. It was just,
yeah. It wasn't even us this time. It wasn't even us this time. We
didn't even go after you. Like,
I mean, we were getting ready to, but we didn't get a chance to yet.
Cancel culture got me again. Could have been the misogynistic comments to your female team, or it could have been the flying racial slurs to your team of mostly black players. Like, take your pick. Why does this keep following Chris Paul around? I don't know. Let's get out of here. Am I the only one confused by this, bro?
See, if Ime Udoka had that thought process, we wouldn't even be here. Let me get out of here. That's all he had to say is let me get up out of here.
We'll finish that joke over on Chicago Bulls Central on Saturday on the Windy City Breeze tomorrow. But as always, man, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. Appreciate y'all for showing love for another week, man. See y'all Monday. We got Media Day this weekend. Let's go. Let's
Media Day.
Let's not get nothing caught up.
We may have to drop a special episode to cover Media Day. I'm just saying. Just a thought there. But with that being said, you can follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize, and thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where the Locked On experts break down all those latest news, rumors, and developments in 30 minutes or less. They can be found wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. But for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls. We out for this week. Peace, y'all.